Hi, welcome to Fauxhad, the show about my life where absolutely nothing happens. So big news actually. Today I submitted my final ever assignment. Ever. Did I just say ever twice? Yeah, I did.
Girl, you have done it again.
It's done. I submitted it. It's in. It's being graded as we speak.
Girl, you make me so proud, and I love you.
I'm done with being a student. Oh my god, I'm done with being a student. That's fine. I know I should be really excited right now. I should be really hopeful, really optimistic about the future, really excited about this next big chapter of my life. It's the rest of my life, right? Like, this is it. You know, traditionally you grow up with your parents for a few years and they send you off to primary school and you're off to your high school, and as soon as high school's done, bam, you're straight into university. You get some better grades and you go to grad school, you get even better grades there, and then for what? For what purpose? Like, what was the reason?
What was the reason? What was the reason? I just explained the reason. What was the reason, bitch?
So yeah, I know I should be very excited and optimistic, but I'm just not. And there's a few reasons for that, which I'll definitely talk about. But I wanted to make this video today to talk through a lot of what I'm thinking about when it comes to this kind of point in our lives. Partly for selfish therapeutic reasons, but I also just wanted to have a bit of a casual, you know, one-on-one conversation between besties about this really strange point in our lives where we have to make huge decisions. The other side of that is I also want to just make a video to talk about what's next in my life, what I'm up to, what the next 6 to 12 months is going to look like for me now that I've finished my actual schoolwork. It was a really strange feeling finishing because I finished it during lockdown. And you know, I don't want to like complain about the global panoramic again because it's just the world we live in now. But I will just say there is this added layer of kind of uncertainty graduating in this point in time because you really don't know what's next in terms of just what society is going to be like a year from now, let alone what your life or what your career aspirations are going to be. So I've been studying in university for the past 8 years now. I did my BA in 3 years as you normally do. I traveled quite a bit overseas with uni, and now I've just finished my master's in law, which is the Juris Doctor for my American friends out there. But it's weird because I don't remember a time where I wasn't a student. Because, you know, I've been in school since I was 5 years old, and now suddenly I'm just not. So now what? Now I should preface this by saying that I'm very, very, very fortunate to be working right now. You know, I landed this awesome job halfway through my law degree, so I've been working full time ever since then. So I feel very lucky not to have to worry about looking for a job right after graduating. It's a huge weight off my shoulders not to have to worry about, you know, graduate programs or traineeships or what my next step is going to be if I want to be a lawyer or not. You know, I really, really feel for people who are just finishing high school or university right now because you have to make these huge decisions without really knowing what, you know, the next week is going to look like, let alone the next 6 years. You know, I've been working in the corporate sector for the past 5 or 6 years now, and generally it's been good to me. That said, the last video I made was a 30-minute rant about why I hate the corporate world, but that's another story. So I did just submit my final assignment, but my actual graduation isn't until October. So that's when we go out to the campus one last time and, you know, do the whole roll call, get our little robe and our cap. So that's still a little while away, and I'm very much looking forward to that. I don't want to have a virtual graduation. Like, I have paid 6 figures for my degree. I do not want a goddamn virtual graduation. I want to be on campus. I want a physical robe and gown. I want to touch the dean of the school and squish his little face for making us pay so much money even through a global panoramic. I mean, I'm not going to do any of that. And also, I think the dean is a woman at the moment, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But this big question comes up, like, once you finish, what do you actually do? Am I supposed to fill out a form? Like, what is the protocol? So I guess the easiest way for me to kind of think about all this is, now that I finished, I guess, what's next? So I have a few different options I could kind of pursue, and I want to kind of talk them out a little bit. The first option is, what if I want to be a lawyer? You know, I did law for 5 years. I did all my classes, I did plenty of placements, I worked in legal centers, I worked at a community legal center where we kind of gave advice to underprivileged members of the community. I worked directly with barristers, I've worked with some solicitors before, I've worked at a firm helping them do some projects.
Okay.
I guess that's the big question I have to think about now, right? Is, do I want to be a lawyer? And then the next layer under that is, if I do want to be a lawyer, what kind of lawyer do I want to be, right? There's 2 real main options. You can be a barrister, which is when you essentially represent people in court and you talk on your client's behalf. So think of like the courtroom dramas of like SVU, where there's the person in the court and dun, 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 boom, boom, dun, 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 Boom, boom. I think if you want to be a barrister in Australia, you have to really focus on getting experience working with other barristers and or judges. So one of the main pathways that people take is after graduating, they tend to get roles as an associate to a judge. That way you get experience in the actual courtroom, you get to follow the judge's career and their day and see what they do. On top of that, you also have to do your PLT, which I'll talk about in a second. The other kind of option you have is becoming a solicitor. So if you want to be a solicitor or to practice law at all in Australia, you have to do two things. So number one is obviously finish your law degree. Once you finish your law degree, you have to do your practical legal training, the PLT. PLT is essentially anywhere between 6 to 12 months, maybe more if you do it part-time. It's essentially a mix of theoretical work, similar to what you did in your law degree, but also quite a lot of practical work in actual law setting. So usually you would do it through a provider. In Australia, that's usually Leo Cusson or the College of Law. They will help shape your career, help you become a lawyer by giving you all the skills you need, putting you into a practical legal program, helping you secure work experience so you can get your hours required to finish the PLT. And essentially that's the bridge between being a university student and starting real work in the legal sector. And then of course, once you finish your PLT, what you need to do is, I think it's around 2 years of supervised legal training. Essentially, that's just supervised work you do in a law firm or a law environment under the supervision of a practicing lawyer. So essentially, you're gaining experience from like experts, working in the field, doing as much as you can to build your skill set, build your confidence, and really set yourself up for a successful career. So if you think about like the timeline of that all, I'm kind of still towards the beginning. I've only just finished my law degree. I still have to do the PLT, which could last up to a year. And then after that, I got to do 2 more years of legal work under the supervision of a trained professional. And then from there, I'm basically admitted to be a lawyer. Even at the conservative estimates, it would take 3 extra years from this point to be admitted to practice law in whatever capacity I wanted. So the second option that I've been thinking a lot about is, what if I don't want to be a lawyer? Yes, I spent the last 5 years in a degree studying to be a lawyer, but a lot can happen in 5 years, let me tell you. 5 years ago when I started this degree, I was living at my parents' place. I didn't have a good job. I was pretty broke. There was no global Panasonic to keep me frightened about the future. Like, it was all good. Like, it was fine. Now that so much time has passed though, I've been rethinking about whether I actually want to do that, because at the end of the day, the one tiny silver lining from this whole past year of hell with the global panoramic has been the fact that we've all taken time to reconsider what's important to us, what we consider important to our values, what we want to do with our lives, how we want to spend our time. I mentioned earlier that I have had quite a bit of experience working in the legal sector here in Melbourne, both with solicitors, barristers, other trained professionals, and if I'm being honest with you, I didn't like it. I didn't have the best experiences in that industry. I felt like there was a huge disconnect between our morality and our ethics that I just didn't see myself gelling with a lot of those people. That's not to say that I don't want to be a lawyer because of that, but it certainly has shaped my perception of the legal industry here in Melbourne. That's a whole other conversation. If you are interested to hear more about my kind of horrific legal work experiences, drop me a comment. Maybe I'll make a video about it someday in the future. But yeah, throughout my degree, I felt less and less of a pull to actually be a lawyer, so now I'm kind of rethinking everything again. As I mentioned in my last video, I've been working for the past few years at a financial institution here in Melbourne. It's one of the biggest financial institutions in Australia. So I've been in this place for 3 years now, and honestly, it's fine. I like what I do. The people who I work with are pretty nice. I think it's just been hard for me over the past year or so because I live by myself, cut off from all social interactions from work. So now it's more focused on the work itself, which has obviously been a little bit hard because I do miss the social interactions. So there has been some cons to this job in terms of like the limited social interactions now, the bigger focus on efficiency and productivity, and less of a focus on well-being. And I feel like even though there's a lot of talk about focusing on well-being, generally as a country, not this job specifically, well-being is not at the top of anyone's priority anymore. As a country, we're not very focused on mental health as much as we probably should have been, especially over the past year. You know, there's been very limited funding to mental health services. There's been a lot of cuts to mental health services, but I will say there are so many positives to my job right now that it does make me excited to stay there for a lot longer. Because it's such a big company, there's so much job opportunities available, which is really important to me because even though I don't want to move right now, it's important to me to have that option just so that I can at least feel like I'm not so rigid in my current space. So the most exciting part of this video is what's next? I guess I just want to update you on my life. If I'm being honest, there isn't really much to update you on, but I would like to give you a bit of a roadmap. I really want you to feel like you can follow along and be part of this kind of faux club journey with me. So, you know, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. So yeah, I guess it's time to just talk a little bit about what's next for me. Obviously, I'm going to spend quite a lot of the rest of the year deciding what I actually want to do with my career. You know, whether it is pursue law or whether it's stay in my current career path where, you know, there's a lot of opportunity for lots of different things that are very outside of law. The company that I work for also has a very big legal sector. So I could always end up working in the legal department of this financial institution. So it's like, at least I wouldn't have wasted 5 years of my life doing a law degree and then not using my law degree. I mean, who knows, I could just end up doing something completely different and just, you know, quit my job and end up working in... Why did I immediately start to say working? Like, as soon as I assumed I'm unemployed, I had to immediately look for another job. So I really want to make sure I spend the next 7 months of the year focusing on things that make me happy, focusing on things that I want to do, focusing on things that I love to do, focusing on new things that I'm just passionate about. I really want to make sure I don't fall into the trap of just focusing so much on work and achievements and milestones, when I could be doing things that I just want to have fun with and like get to connect with people and just talk to people. So I guess I'm just trying to say I'm finding more hobbies.
If you have any suggestions for hobbies, leave them in the comments.
Oh, actually, one of them obviously is YouTube. You know, without university taking up so much of my time, I finally have the ability to focus on making videos every single week. I have a huge list of videos that I've been wanting to make for a really long time, so I'm glad I can start to go through them. I've already filmed 2 others. They're all coming. I think I've kind of made a running joke on this channel about how I can't keep to a weekly schedule because my life is just so crazy busy, but it's not anymore, I promise. I guess I'll just end this by saying I don't know what's next. This is both the most exciting and the most terrifying time of my life. You know, I have to start making these really big decisions around, you know, who I want to be, what I want to do. But for now, I just want to rest. I just want to break. I'm tired. I'm so exhausted, you guys. Like, I'm so exhausted. And I'll face the world in the coming months. Just need some time to myself, please. And in that time where I just kind of reconnect with myself and with people, I just want to find things that I love to do. And I want to start moving away from the idea that work is your only priority. Because at the end of the day, work isn't a priority, but you are. Anyway, I've been rambling on for quite a bit and I don't know if any of it made sense. Hopefully it did. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment as to what you're feeling like right now. It's a bit of a scary time for everyone, no matter whether you're finishing school, just starting school, getting into work, whatever. Always keen to know your thoughts and hear your feedback, so much appreciated. Just a special shout out to all the new people who've been subscribed to this channel over the past month or so. I think I've gained about 30 subscribers over the past month, which has been really awesome. So welcome to the family. Thank you so much for joining. Obviously, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do that. Come join the Fauxhad family. We are a very wholesome bunch and we're all besties. That's what our life is like, right? I think I've gotten everything I want to say out, so until next time, bye!